What's up, everybody? Welcome to In My Zone. I'm Patricia Tone with another episode of A Day in the Life of a 50 plus unemployed filmmaker. In 2004, I went back home to Texas. I was living in Vegas and I wanted to get my college education, a degree. And I decided to go back to Houston and start in the community college and get my AA. And my goal was to be a news reporter. And during the time that I was going back to school, Hurricane Katrina happened. And I was like, no. I realized that when you start as a news reporter, you have to cover every story. And so a lot of times that means going out and being that reporter that covers the weather. And I was like, ain't no way in heck I'm going to stand out in no rain and no storms and all of that to cover the news. And I just decided that I figured something else out, right? So I went on and got my AA in broadcast technology. And while I was in school, I had, difficult people who were professors or instructors who didn't understand my excitement, my urgency, my enthusiasm to get a college education. And so at the time, our dean was teaching one of the software classes, and this guy always had a problem with me. Every time, always had a problem with me. And so he was teaching a software program called Photoshop, I believe it was. And he was going through talking about the program, giving exercises and examples, and then trying to move on and rush us through to the next thing. And I kept saying, hey, hold up. Can you back up? Can you go over that again? Can you show us how you got to that step? And he hated me, baby. He hated me. He did not want to repeat anything he had already said. And then he got other students to try and be against me. All of the students who had his background, which was not black, okay? And so the people who I was hanging out with and we were doing projects together with, they decided that they no longer wanted to be my friend. So I had to deal with that. When I went to the school, they were looking for a news reporter for the local news. The school is where Stafford local news filmed the episodes, and it was in our studio, so they wanted a host. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I want to be the host for the news show, right? I auditioned. Do you know I was the only one to show up? Nobody else came to the audition. But here's the funny thing. When I auditioned, he had me to sit down at the desk and they were going to discuss some things. And this was before I knew him. This was when I first signed up for the classes, first started going to the school. And baby, he came out there door so fast. Oh my God, who are you? Where have you been? That was absolutely awesome. We've never had anyone to audition and be this good. You're like a natural. And I just said, thank you. So there was a lady who worked for the school, and she was an elderly woman. She didn't want to give up the job. And so because they picked me, and yes, she was of the Caucasian persuasion, and because they wanted to give me the job, she started crying about wanting to be the anchor, and that she didn't want to be pushed aside or whatever. And so the thing that made me angry is it's a student program, and she wasn't a student. She worked there, and she wasn't good. Okay, she was not good. And so because she complained and cried and whined like they do, they made us co-anchors. I've never been so mad in my life. You know, I hate when people can't let other people have their turn. I hate when people can't let you shine and just say congratulations and move on. I hate when people try to dim other people's light. I auditioned, they liked me, I won the spot. So move along, little Sally, you know. But no, they made us co-anchors. Here's another plot twist that happened. So while everybody was getting on the dean's bandwagon of not liking me and not wanting to work with me on projects, I mysteriously was voted president of the student organization. And so when we went to the meeting, we're all standing there, and so the girl says, "Congratulations, Patricia." And I'm like, "Congratulations for what?" "You were voted president." I said, "Voted president? They don't even like me." I said, "I never even ran for no president." She said, "Well, everybody wrote your name down. And so you're the new president of the Broadcast Technology Student Organization." Yeah. Nobody wanted the job, so they voted for me. I don't know if it was to see if I would fail, or if it was to see, I don't know what it was to see, but I was voted the student organization program. So president of, so I took it seriously. I started making flyers. I made weekly newsletters. I made people come, and we train in the lab on the software. I was bringing everybody together for other projects. If you had a question or if you had a problem, to let me know. I would find a way to get you some help. So on top of all of this, me being in the lab a long time, many hours. Okay, let me tell you why. I was in the lab all the time because when I went back home, my family wasn't very welcoming. And it seemed like I was in their way. And the way they talked to me and treated me like an outsider, I was crying every day of my life. Seems like I've cried. And so I would stay at the lab sun up to sundown. I would just take food, buy food. No one would mess with my stuff because we just didn't do that back then. You didn't touch anybody else's belongings. You didn't have to worry about anybody stealing anything from you. And so lo and behold, the dean, who didn't like me, who got people to be against me, came and asked me if I wanted to be the computer lab student assistant, and get a check. And I said, why are you asking me? He said, because you're always in here. And that was true. And he said, you don't even let people touch the equipment with dirty hands. You make sure people don't have drinks and everything around the new equipment. You're very protective of the room, and everybody knows it. And so the position is open. And so I accepted. I'm like, well, if I'm sitting here anyway, why not get the check, right? I'd be a fool not to get the check. So that was really, really shocking and surprising, but very helpful at that time. So then, me being the computer lab aid assistant, and now all these people who didn't like me had to come to me for assistance, because I was the only one in there really learning and practicing my skill set. They all started to become my friend again. And we all had the same classes. It was a small class, and we all had to work together. Well, some kind of way they started getting mad at me again. And I didn't know why, but I didn't care anymore, right? And so this one guy came up to me and introduced himself, and I believe he might have been on the board of the student organizations committee. Yeah, that's what it sounds like he said to me. And he said, Patricia, why don't you fill out an application to get some money for the club to go to, oh God, what do they call it? The National Organization for Television and something. It happens in Vegas, right? You go to Vegas for this big event every year in Vegas. I can't even think of the name of it, and I'm driving, so I can't Google it. And he said, fill out the application for this money, because the money needs to be spent, or the school will lose the opportunity to have this kind of money again. And so it was $10,000. I filled it out. We won the money. My organization won the money. And so we had $10,000 to go to Las Vegas because of me. They had never gone. They had never even thought about going. And so we took, I want to say 10 students and 2 instructors. And that club got to experience something they never experienced. We had so much fun. Everybody was thanking me. And now I was on everybody's good side all over again. Well, school was coming to a close, and we all had to do our finals, because everybody said I was always trying to run things and be out in the front and all of this, which I didn't. Everybody voted for me, and everybody pushed that job on me. When it was time for the final, I didn't speak up. I said, I'm going to let everybody pick whatever title they want to do, and then I'll take what's left, even if it's just the PA. Because to me, there's no small part in production. That's just how I feel about it. So everybody in there raising their hand for stuff, raising their hand for this role, that role, and I'm just sitting there, and my instructor, I still love that man to this day, Mr. Stan Hill. He looked at me, he said, well, there's only 2 positions left. I said, oh. And he said, there's only the writer and director position left. I guess you have to do that. I turned and looked at the class. I said, y'all did all that bickering about me wanting to be the writer and the director of stuff, and none of y'all picked that position. You have the perfect opportunity to pick the position, and now don't nobody want it. And so Mr. Hill was in the corner almost laughing because he knew exactly what had been going on. And so I decided to write a commercial for the department. This is the broadcast technology department, and they did not have a 30-second or a 60-second commercial for this program. It was a all new equipment, studio, camera, computer room. I'm like, how is it that we only have this small group of people in this program, and you have all of these things available for a person to learn? And this is why the dean was upset with me, because he took it personally, right? He took it personally as an attack on him. And to be honest, it was on him. I mean, they're paying dude $60K a year, that was the rumor, to sit on his butt in an office and just do minimal work. So I wrote the commercial. We did it in the studio. It turned out better than everyone expected. And so Mr. Hill decided to enter it into the Telly Awards. Let me back up. Because I was a computer lab aide and everybody knew I was trustworthy, and I was a very, very serious student, nobody wanted to edit the work. Oh, okay. It's coming back. So it was too long. He said he wanted, I think, like 1 minute, a 1 minute cut. And so I said, okay, I could do the cut, but I would need to use the computer at the lab because I didn't have a laptop at the time. And so he gave me the keys to the lab, and I went into the lab on spring break and edited a 1 minute cut of our commercial. He took it, entered it into the contest, and we won a Bronze Telly Award. If I tell you everybody lost their minds, they couldn't believe it. Now here we are again, the most hated person in the program for no reason other than I asked too many doggone questions. I got those kids to Vegas. I got those kids a Bronze Telly Award. I helped a lot of them with their homework so they graduated. But I'm not liked at all. But there was one thing Mr. Hill said to me that just made me smile more than anything in the world. He was grading one of our assignments where we had to edit a scene of a movie. And the main topic was the clock on the wall. And we had to put this clock on the wall in other areas of the scene where we felt it might fit, right? I love editing. I really, really do. As he's watching my project, I can hear him making these sounds. Oh, yes, yeah. Yes. And, oh, man, I almost died. He said, Patricia, you almost had it perfect. No one else has ever come to this close to having the perfect edit. And I said, I know where the problem is. Because as I was watching it, I could see, doggone it, I needed it right there. And I needed to put that clock in the last scene of that edit before the robbers went out the door. All they needed to do was look up at that clock again and then go on out the door of the bank. And he said to me, I want to thank you. And I'm like, thank me? He said, you made me remember why I decided to start teaching. You made me love teaching again. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, was all that needed to be said. He said, they try to break you and defame everything you know, they try to badmouth you, use your name in a negative way, and all this stuff that you didn't even do. You didn't even know what was going on. And look at what you did for this program. And Mr. Hill made me realize that people are going to hate you for no reason. Or the reasons that they hate you is because they can't do what you do. Or they don't have what you have. And Mr. Hill told me he expected to see my name in lights one day. Well, they haven't been in lights the way I thought so far. But I do have some national credits as a writer, as a PA, and I'm still pursuing the part of where I be listed as a director. And so I'm never giving that up until they nail the nails in my coffin. That will always be in my mind, because I try to not think about it. Every time I try to quit entertainment in any form or fashion, God pops something back up in my face. God brings it back alive in me. And so that's what makes me depressed the most. It's being able to know how to do something and not be able to use it. That's depressing for me. But social media is where I decided to keep practicing my skill set. and to keep myself abreast of everything that I've learned. And I continue to research and learn new things. I'm still going to do it. I can't give up. I tried. I can't. So anyway, I graduated. I got my AA in broadcast technology. I didn't even really go to the graduation. I was just going to get my piece of paper or whatever. My family, they were all mad at me. You graduated, you ain't tell nobody. What the fuck? What I'm gonna tell y'all for? Y'all didn't help me. After that, I went to Cal State LA, and I'll tell you more about that next time. Thank you for watching In My Zone. I'm Patricia Tone. I'll see you next time.